Dear students, having discussed oligopoly and its characteristics, now we consider equilibrium in an oligopoly market. Equilibrium in an oligopoly market. When we study a market, we want to determine price and output that prevail in equilibrium. Price and output prevailing in equilibrium in the short run and also in the long run. The theory of market is concerned with price and output determination. Under perfect competition, equilibrium price is the one which equates quantity demanded to quantity supplied. Equilibrium price is the one in which quantity demanded is equal to quantity supplied. Because we know that in a competitive economy, price is determined by the intersection between demand and supply, and each firm is a price taker. Under monopoly, equilibrium occurs when MC is equal to MR. MC is equal to MR, and we do not know what will be the corresponding price. Stated differently, there is no theory of price determination under monopoly. The only thing we can say is that even in the long run, the monopoly firm will enjoy supernormal profits. And under monopolistic competition, in the long run, entry and profit is equal to zero. Profit is equal to zero, where AR is equal to S. So under perfect competition, monopolistic competition, we know the condition for equilibrium, short run and also long run. In each of these markets, each firm take the price or demand as given and ignore the competitors. Under perfect competition, each firm determines its quantity because price is given. Under monopoly, monopolistic can either fix the price or quantity, cannot determine both. This problem is known as the monopoly problem. Under monopolistic competition also, firm has some control over the price, so it can determine the price or quantity as such. If it decides to produce little, it can fix a higher price, produce more, fix a lower price, like that. And in all these market structures, either price or quantity is fixed and competitors are not considered because each firm is independent. In oligopoly markets, a firm sets its price or quantity based partly on strategic considerations regarding the behavior of competitors. A firm sets its price or quantity partly based on the reaction or the behavior of competitors, and at the same time, the competitor's decision depends on the first firm's decision. So, under oligopoly, when price or quantity is determined, the firm must take into account what is known as the decision of the behavior of the reaction of the competitors. Now, given this, the question is, how then can we figure out what the market price and output will be in equilibrium, or whether there will be an equilibrium at all? So given this, how do we find out equilibrium price or quantity? Or can we expect that whether there will be an equilibrium price or quantity under oligopoly. Given that pricing and output decisions by any firm depends on the behavioral pattern of the rivals. Now the answer to this question depends on how we define equilibrium. How we define equilibrium in a competitive market and also in a monopoly market. Now, when a market is in equilibrium, firms are doing the best it can and have no reason to change their price or output. So we define equilibrium like this: under perfect competition and monopoly, when a firm is in equilibrium, the firm is doing the best it can and have no incentive to change its price or quantity. Under perfect competition in the long run, the firm enjoys normal profits and the firm will not have any incentive to change its price or quantity. The same is true in the case of a monopoly firm. In the long run, MC is equal to MR, profit is maximized. Monopoly firm has no incentive to change its price or quantity. The same is true under monopolistic competition also. So, under perfect competition, when QD is equal to QS, each firm is doing the best it can, selling whatever it is produced and maximizing profits. And the same is true under monopoly. When MC is equal to MR, the firm is selling the product which maximizes its profits. Under monopolistic competition, the firm is earning normal profit in the long run. With some modification, we can apply the same principle in the case of oligopoly also. Now, unlike a perfect competition or monopoly or monopolistic competition, the only difference is that each firm will want to do the best it can given what its competitors are doing. Under perfect competition, monopoly and monopolistic competition in equilibrium, each firm is doing the best it can irrespective of what others are doing. But under oligopoly, each firm is doing the best it can given what its competitors are doing. So the concept of equilibrium under oligopoly is slightly different from other market structures. The only difference is each firm wants to do the best it can given what its competitors are doing. But under other market structures, in equilibrium, each firm is doing the best it can irrespective of what its competitors are doing. So this principle is the basis for determining price and quantity under oligopoly. That is, in an oligopoly market, each firm is doing the best it can given what its competitors are doing, because the price and output decision of each firm depends on the strategic considerations about what its competitors are doing. Because of strategic consideration arises due to interdependence. Interdependence arises because any action taken by one firm will have impact on other firms. So the same concept of equilibrium is applied in the case of equilibrium under oligopoly with the modification. And this concept of equilibrium was first explained in 1951 by John Nash. So it is known as Nash equilibrium. So the concept of equilibrium under oligopoly is known as Nash equilibrium. Nash equilibrium is a situation in which each firm is doing the best it can given what its competitors are doing. Each firm is doing the best it can given what its competitors are doing. And remember, this Nash equilibrium is a very wide concept applied in all the spheres involving strategic interactions like war between nations, game of chess, and so many other areas, not restricted to the theory of firms in economics. Anyway, this is how we define equilibrium in a oligopoly market. In equilibrium, each firm is doing the best it can given what its competitors are doing. In other market forms, each firm is doing the best it can regardless of what the others are doing. That is the only difference between oligopoly equilibrium and equilibrium under other market structures.